Shall we bow our heads? Our Creator, you who are omnipresent, we ask that you would guide our thoughts, words, and our actions today. Remove from us those things which prevent us from being of useful service to our fellows. Recognize our gratitude for the leaders in our community assembled here today. Help us to accomplish our goals by displaying your character. We ask that you bless the food we are about to receive. We pray all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Please have a seat. Thank you, William. Kay Shaw is on her way up to introduce our visiting Rotarians and guests. And as I do every week, please take a look at your cart buckets on the table and give generously to the cart fund if you can spare it.
Please help me welcome from Columbia East, Christian Rotarian Michael Otis. Welcome, please come join us another time. We have several Rotarians that have brought guests today. Thanks to the Rotarians for sharing our program and bringing guests. And if you and your guests would please stand and introduce yourselves, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're here with Miss Linda Jolly. She is Communications Manager for Keenan Suggs, Hub International Insurance, and works directly under our friend Tommy Suggs.
Thank you, and as a reminder to all of us, please remember to bring guests from the community to enjoy our wonderful programs. Thank you much.
Thank you, Kay. I did not do this, but I noticed when I was striking the bell, the finial that sits on top of it is broken off. And Debbie had it. She showed it to me earlier, I guess, when over the years it's just taken a toll. So if you happen to do any welding, or if you know anybody that can weld the cast iron finial back to the top of the bell, please see me after the meeting. Or if you know anybody that will do it at a discount for our club, we would be very appreciative. Catherine Davis is pulling double duty today. She's going to introduce our speaker in a little bit, but right now she's going to come and give our health and happiness report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Lots of happiness this afternoon. I'm happy to report you'll only experience any bad news in my jokes, but that's coming a little bit after this. Ann Walker, who is right there, has turned 49 for the 24th time. Her birthday was this past.
45, not 49.
45, you watch me write that down. Okay, 45 for the 24th time. Okay, this past Saturday, get me started off right. Forrest Walker, her grandson, is a senior at Chapin High School, and he has been named the Battalion Commander Officer of the Navy ROTC unit, and he just found out today that he has been awarded a full 4-year scholarship at Auburn University, majoring in aeronautical engineering. Wow. Congratulations to both Ann and her grandson, Forrest.
But it is my nephew. My daughter hasn't had a baby yet.
Oh, gosh. Let me write all this down. I think this is a setup, Ann. All right. Just so you'll know, Frank Brown, who is, where is Frank? There's Frank. He's got my back. Okay. Frank was awarded recently a very distinguished honor by Prisma Health Midlands Foundation. He has been designated as a fellow of the Prisma Health Midlands Foundation, formerly the Palmetto Health Foundation. He's in the first class of fellows named Prisma Health Midlands Foundation, and a fellow at this foundation is someone who has spent extensive time, talent, and treasure to benefit Prisma Health, the hospital system, in their services and programs and any of the capital needs. So we really thank you. I'm saying thank you because I'm with Prisoner Health Maintenance Foundation, but thank you, Frank, and please congratulate him with a round of applause. Carolyn Matthews, Carolyn and her husband are betting people. They won, or they bet on the lottery. They bought two lottery tickets for $10, and they won tickets to see the Broadway play Hamilton in New York City. They were able to get there with a round trip ticket and get there safely and back, and she didn't say that it was thoroughly enjoyed, but where's Carolyn? There she is. And the word is?
Well, everyone needs to sign up to the free Hamilton app on your phone, and then once a day you just enter, and then they say you won, they like to get your ticket. So, work right, because they want to
Great. All right, well, thanks for sharing that with us. The Columbia Classical Ballet on this past Friday evening celebrated its first successful and wonderful gala at the Forest Lake Country Club. And Lee Lumpkin, who I don't see here just now, I'd like for you all to give her a round of applause for the success that they realized at that auction and gala. And finally, I have to say that, well, that is some bad news. Let me give you this thing that Bob Crutchfield was the source of this announcement. The South Carolina Prayer Breakfast, formerly known as the Governor's infamous breakfast, where they all attend, will be held at the Embassy Suites on March 20th. From 7:30 a.m. until about 9:10 a.m. And if you need any additional details, please see Bob with that. And on a somber note, Charlie Kate, a former member of our club, his wife Audrey is having surgery today for diaphragmatic hernia. So we'll keep her lifted up in prayer as she goes through that surgery. Mary's husband, and you all may not know Mary, but Mary's husband died, and this is Mary in my joke. Mary's husband died. Now, remember I said the only people dying were in my jokes. But anyway, Mary's husband died, and he left her $50,000 in his will. A couple of weeks after the funeral, Mary constantly complained to her friend how broke she was. And her friend just could not understand why over the 2 weeks, so she finally asked her, Mary, how can you possibly be so broke so soon? And Mary replied, well, the funeral cost $10,000, and I really thought that was a real deal. And then I had to buy a memorial stone with the rest of the money. Her friend said, my, Mary, that must have been quite a stone to spend $40,000 on it. How big was it? Mary said 8.5 carats. Bob, on the other hand, Bob on the other hand was in trouble. He forgot his wedding anniversary. His wife was really, really upset about it. She told him, tomorrow morning I expect to find a gift in the driveway that goes from 0 to 200 in 6 seconds, and it better be there. The next morning he got up early and left for work. When his wife woke up, she looked out the window, and sure enough, there was a box gift wrapped in the middle of the driveway. Confused, the wife put on her robe and ran out to the driveway and brought the box back in the house. She opened it and found a brand new bathroom scale. And so, Bob has been missing since Friday. Anyway, on a more serious note, I had a few notes on compassion history, and culture. And last week, we were off, well, we didn't meet on last week. It was, our club recognized President's Day. And so we didn't meet. And there's a tremendous amount of history to know and learn about and from our presidents. But I promised Clarence, who I'm still married to, that I would stay away from this topic at today's meeting. And I promised to have it later with you over cocktails. But at any rate, I will say that not only should presidents have a solid understanding of history, but also they must have compassion. That's a strong sense of understanding, care, concern, sensitivity, love, brotherly love, humanity, benevolence, and humaneness. I do, however, want you to know history, the past, so that we can continue purposely shape the future. I want you to know history so that we can continue to purposefully shape the future. Many of you know very well your past, your culture, and you have shaped your respective futures for you and your family and friends based on that culture. Together, though, we must collectively know or appreciate our past. Our mezclada de culturas, that's a mixture of cultures in Spanish, so that we can purposefully and strategically walk down the path to a better world for us and for future generations. Gosh, we are the future. So as committed Rotarians, we must forever continue to make it better, for we all deserve it. And together we can. Peter Drucker said, and I quote, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." And what I glean from that is what makes us successful is a culture that fosters respect, brings people together, and therefore amplifies our skills so that we can accomplish great things today and for the benefit of future generations. So I encourage us all to be compassionate and understanding of all people. For when you act with compassion, you can never be wrong. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you, Catherine. Very nice job. While you were talking, someone handed this to me, and I just wanted to mention this on a sad note. Past District Governor Mike Cavanaugh passed away last week. I don't know if any of you saw that in the news or if you're friends with the Cavanaugh family. His funeral was last Thursday. He was the founder of the Vista Nightclub and a past member of the 5 Points Club as well. So please keep the Cavanaugh family in your prayers. I'd like to welcome back Blake Buchanan to the podium to talk to you about the Bocce Bash, which is coming up on April the 27th. I'm not going to say much more about it because I stole a little bit of his thunder last time, but he's got an update for everybody and to give you some information.
Thanks, President Stephen. I thought his presentation was much better than anything I've done so far, but he had provided you with a lot of information last week. A couple of things that's been brought to my attention that I'll kind of cover real quick, but again, we're talking about the Bocce Bash on April 27th at Sacred Park. So you'll see it flash by up here a lot. I want to recognize our committee members. So if you have helped in any way as a committee member, do you mind standing up real quick, please? The reason I asked those to stand up is they have been working hard on sponsorships, but also if you had any questions, okay, please ask one of them. Because, I mean, or me, Stephen as well, but there's a lot of people in this room, and that was probably half of the folks that have helped so far. So if you have any questions about what you can do, I'll get to that in just a minute, or any specific questions about the website or how to navigate things, please find one of them and ask them anything. They'll be glad to help. So I'm not going to run through everybody that is sponsored, but I will tell you as of right now, I'll give you a couple of the highlights just so you kind of know, and I'll give you a total so you can know where we are. I think we've mentioned most of these before, but K Plumbing, which is someone that Cynthia helped bring to the table, is our hospitality tent sponsor. That was a $5,000 sponsorship right off the bat. We've Southeastern Freight Lines and Blue Cross Blue Shield. Blue Cross Blue Shield is actually doing a couple of different levels, but they're both at this level $2,500 sponsorships. A couple of others of note, CF Evans, Crestcom Bank, and Modern Exterminating are all doing court sponsorships, and as well as Shives Funeral Home and Wells Fargo. So thank you guys for that. And then Ed Robinson also has a team. So those range anywhere from $400 to $5,000. That brings our total right now to $24,550. So we're well on our way to where we'd like to be. I mean, we're going to keep as the committee going out and talking about sponsorships and trying to get more. Some folks in the Special Olympics are doing the same thing. So one of the things that's been asked is how do we help? So there's a couple of things. Number one, if Andy Shane, who's not here, right? I don't think he stood up. He's going to help. He's going to head up our volunteers. So if you see him, please reach out to him. He's going to handle all the volunteers leading up to. As we get closer, we'll need some folks to do some things with the court set up for the park, and then the day of the Bocce Bash. Should be starting next week. We're going to have a table set up out here in the hall that's with some information that you can just stop by and ask us before the meeting and hopefully after if you have any questions. And then we also have a question about donations. And if you just want to make a small donation of any number, it's very welcome. So we appreciate that. And what we're going to do is we will kind of pull those donations together, and we'll basically, however many teams that forms, those teams are $400. We'll just take those donations and we'll form teams. And if it means we'll have a Rotary team from Columbia Rotary, or we'll grab some students from USC, or if you know someone that wants to be on a team and you kind of want to sponsor them and put them on a team, we'll do that. So if you have any donation that you want to make personally or as your business, it doesn't matter what amount that is, just see one of those committee members and we'll just kind of pull that money together, and that'll form a couple of extra teams. So any questions right now while I'm up here? If you have any questions, if you want to ask, feel free. And yes, sir.
Is this all adults or people bringing their children and grandchildren?
You can bring children as well. It's a spectator event. I mean, if you have a significant other that you want to bring to watch, the stands will be open. Should be allowed on the field with the teams. I think they've done that from what I believe in the past. So if you have, what's that? Yeah, correct. President Stevens saying that there's no children that will play, but if they want to be out there with us on the field while we're doing it, that is perfectly fine. So, and there's food provided and those kind of things, so there will be plenty of that. But thank y'all, and like I said, we'll try to have a table out here starting next week, and that's what we can do, individual sign-ups for the donations or the individual teams if somebody wants to do that. And if you have any questions, just see one of the committee members. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Blake. I once again appreciate your leadership on that. We'll, as he said, there's going to be a table out there. We've got a couple months now before we're playing. So you'll have questions as things come up, and we'll continue to hit you time and time again with the same information for those of you who are here every week, because not everybody comes every week, so we will over-communicate just to make sure everybody's on the same page about the Bocce Bash.
Expect everybody age-wise, children, in other words, 18 and older, or 21 and older, or the opportunity.
I think we're serving beer to all the participants, so we do want participants to be 21 years old. It's a good question. Any other questions? Sure. How many on a team? 4 people on a team. So if you want to grab 3 of your buddies from Rotary and each throw in $100, you can have a team.
Is there a prize for the winner?
There is. There is a prize for the winner. Most of you, as I said before, will be eliminated by 1 o'clock though. So if you hang around in the afternoon, you'll get a prize if you win this. And it's a big deal. I think we'll show more in the weeks ahead, but we'll show some videos from the Charleston tournament just to give you a flavor for what kind of event it is. It's over there. I think they're on their 18th or 19th year, and they raise over $100,000 before the cost. So they've really turned it into a big event that the community supports. And so I think we've got a good foothold now with nearing $25,000 in sponsorships alone. Now's the time really though to think about playing, think about how can I participate, or if you don't want to participate, how can I send my kid, how can I send my friend? I do want everybody in the club to participate in one way or another, because this is our big fundraiser, and the money goes towards to top off our scholarships, and then also now we've got a non-scholarship designated fund that we can use for other service projects. So I certainly believe in the fiscal accountability of it, and would be glad to show you, all of the, where everything is going, and we'll commit to doing that in the months ahead. So thank you for your support. A couple of announcements from me before we hand it over to our speaker. The board meets this Thursday morning, so for all you board members, please remember 8 o'clock at Eggs Up Grill on Devine. And this past weekend was the PETS conference. That's the President-elect Training Seminar that the district puts on. And Louisa went, and she is now educated and ready to go, trained. Mason Hardy also went, so our secretary, our current secretary, President-elect, he went and got to experience it. And Cynthia Giles was also there representing the club, so we had 3 different people from the club there, which was fantastic. Cynthia actually spoke at the seminar about social media and what you can do to enhance your social media presence, which I think she's done a fantastic job for us this year. And now I want to welcome Catherine Davis back to the podium, who is our President-elect. And she'll introduce our speaker.
It's really an honor and a distinct pleasure to introduce Ms. Della Watkins. She has served as the Executive Director of the Columbia Museum of Art for a whopping 18 months. And prior to coming to Columbia, however, she was the Executive Director of the Tubman Museum of Art located in Roanoke, Virginia. And she was there for over 4 years. She completed 15 years of leadership, nonprofit management, and statewide programming at the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts in Richmond, Virginia. Her early career included 13 years in teaching arts education, all of which helped her build viable partnerships and deliver strong, diverse museum programming to the public. Now, as a museum leader, she is extremely passionate about the function and the visual arts play, and how the visual arts play in building a strong community and culture. Her dynamism and leadership skills are both used to oversee a major construction project currently underway at the Columbia Museum of Art. She manages what is considered a very strong nonprofit business. She garners donor support, cultivates relationships, and raises visibility for the Columbia Museum of Art here in the Midlands region and across the state. Della earned her Bachelor of Arts degree from James Madison University and a Master's in Art Education from Virginia Commonwealth University. She's a graduate of 3 leadership programs, including the Georgetown University Center for Public and Nonprofit Leadership, the Darden School of Business at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville, Virginia, and the Getty Leadership Institute in Los Angeles, California. My fellow Rotarians, please join me in a very warm welcome for our talented and accomplished Executive Director of our jewel, the Columbia Museum of Art.
Gosh, I'm busier than I thought. Well, thank you for having me. I'm a native Virginian, but over the last 18 months, I'm happy to say that I've surrendered that driver's license. I now have a South Carolina driver's license. I have taken Carolina shag lessons, and I am learning how to be a Columbian. It feels a lot like home. Columbia has the same hot, humid weather as it does in Virginia. It has the same buzz of universities and our legislative bodies, so it feels a lot like home. I want to tell you I secret shopped this town before I came to work here. I was recruited here for the Columbia Museum of Art job, But for a whole weekend, I just hung around. I went to hotels and breakfast places and lunch places, and I asked everybody, what's that big building across the street? And I'm happy to say, overwhelmingly, people love this town. And when I say town, it's a big region. They're pretty happy with the governance here. They're happy with the attractions. They're happy with just about everything that makes it a great place to live. And I'm very happy at the Columbia Museum of Art because I get to oversee 7,000 objects of art and over 600 programs a year at the museum. The museum hosts about 150,000 people annually, 25,000 of those being our students and children. Now, it's interesting when I pulled the statistics about who visits the museum, and 65% of the people who come to the museum are outside of Richland County, 21% are from outside the state. So we absolutely know that we are an attraction, a tourist destination, but we're serving our hometown residents. And I'm here to say, in order for me to do a good job, I need to change and make this museum part of a transformative 21st century museum. Now let me fill you in. The museum moved to Main Street 23 years ago. It was a big Macy's building that was retrofitted to be a museum. And I have just completed, all by myself, the museum and community and construction crew have just completed the 14-month renovation project. The project began in 2017 when I arrived, and it was, the first thing we had to do was prepare to take the art down. In order to do that, we had to expand the storage, and that means the vertical painting storage and our object and paper storage. The very first thing we did was to take care of that. The museum is an accredited museum nationally by the American Alliance of Museums, and I keep those best practices moving forward all the time. So phase one of the project started in spring 2017. We took every piece of art off view, and we hid it safely into the lower basement area of the museum. Now that was because we had to pull through the ceilings all the new fire suppression, the lights, the security, the HVAC, all that had to go through the ceilings, and we couldn't ever afford anything to drop down on the art. So after we took care of taking everything down, we went into heavy construction. Months and months we remodeled. Every piece of that building was touched, including building 4 new galleries. In August, we reinstalled all the art again. So that meant right now we have 7,000 objects in the collection, but unfortunately, we only have space to put about 360 back up. So that means we have the big luxury of rotating new things forward all the time. The galleries have been physically and conceptually updated. There's a bold new thematic format. You may be used to going to museums. When you go in, you go through history. You might start in ancient China or Egypt, and you may go through time. And we decided to reinstall every single object differently. Each room has a theme, and in that theme, we are now able to put objects from across the globe, across time, and across artists situated side by side to explain a theme. The galleries go across the globe, across time periods, and now include artists of color, women, men, South Carolina artists, even, as I picture here, Philip Mullen, one of our current artists today. Now, as we moved along, we had to take a new approach. So it's no longer a museum okay to just go in and look. We have to be more engaging. So we have lots of new loans. We pulled out of our storage 51 objects that have never ever been seen before. And there are about 20 of those that have not been seen in over 20 years. Now, we also had a big, vast space upstairs. And when you do an original renovation 23 years ago, we knew that eventually you run out of money. So you sort of decide how much you're going to get done, and you leave space for the future. Well, I'm happy to say that on our second floor, we have a huge storage space. We moved all the storage to the basement, and we've turned it into a special event space that will seat 350 guests, or it's a pretty good rockin' party for about 500. The big addition is a new entrance on Main Street. So when the department store existed there, it never had a door facing Main. It was always oriented toward the Boyd Plaza. So for all those years, it's sort of like the museum had its shoulder to Main Street, so you come in through the plaza. We have reoriented the entire museum to Main Street. So that includes this big canopy. It's a 90-foot canopy. It is steel glass and lit, and it welcomes guests now from Main Street. The front entrance also leads you into a new lobby. So when we finish the plaza, you'll have two entrances, right off of Main Street, or you can come through the plaza. With the renovation, we used the opportunity to go ahead and expand our education spaces. 3 new studios, an interactive space, and lots more places for hands-on learning. The museum shop was also designed by our architect. One of the things that a very responsible museum does is diversifies the way they support themselves. So we have county, city, and state money coming. We also have to earn our keep. We do that through our revenue generating centers, which includes our brand new gift shop, all of our programs, admissions, all of those collectively take care of the museum. The other thing that we did on the first floor while we were there, it was an opportunity to go ahead and dress out the downstairs. So we've added new lighting, we added a kitchen, security, new bathrooms, all that as visitor amenities. Now, the reason we're there is to share art and to interact with each other. So all the work that we've done so far was very physical. But it is time that we transform from the inside out. So as we begin to look at programming, we will have on the calendar 2 programs a week. We'll have weekends, we'll have lunchtime, we'll have after hours, we'll have fun social things, and we'll also be spreading out into our new plaza. We promise. So the staff went out over the last year and took a pulse of what this community wanted. What exactly do you want from your art museum? Who do you want us to be? So after we compiled lots of listening sessions, we did surveys, we did all the things to make us good listeners, we went back and boiled that down, distilled it down to who we are. So I can guarantee if you come and see me, it will always be playful, will be certainly very welcoming, and we will also have a vibrant physical environment, very visual. The other thing is, you have told me over and over, make it community-centered. Make sure we honor our working artists, we take care of our South Carolinian artists, our regional artists, which is what we collect and show, as well as our responsibility to show art from across the world. I am not so naive. I know, as a certified, I continue to keep a license as a certified teacher. I know that there'll be residents and children that will never, ever see some of the things that they come to see in the Columbia Museum of Art because they will not have the ability to travel, or they might not have the time to travel. So I think it's a big responsibility that I have to bring the treasures to town. So while we are inspiring, we also are working on the outside. Now the Boyd Plaza is a very interesting project. It is a 3-legged stool in our community, and it is absolutely designed for everyone in this room and well beyond. The City of Columbia owns the land. The City of Columbia owns my building, just the facade. I own what's inside. So the property, we took everything out of the Boyd Plaza. I'm looking, click for me. We took everything out of the Boyd Plaza because the plaza then received a grant from the Boyd Foundation, a $3 million project grant to redo the plaza. Now some people said, I have really gotten my fingers, a lot of finger shaking about that plaza because why'd you take down the trees, and where's that, and it's a waste of money. Well, we had an arborist come and look at the trees. There were only 20% of the trees still had 40% life. And the reason for that is that plaza underground is the construction debris from the original build from the 2 department stores that were there. So it never had a good start from the beginning. So what we were responsible for is getting all the construction debris out and bringing in new dirt, or as I've been corrected recently, more soil, because then the price can go up. So with the new plaza, what we decided to do again is, if it's going to be a green spot downtown, how can we all use it? So it's designed in 4 quadrants. The quadrants are going to be a pavilion that has shade. And if you have ever been in the Boyd Plaza, it used to be a red bricked plaza, and when the sun was on it, it was an oven. So we now have a pavilion. The pavilion has lights, sound, and fans, so that you can come and have your lunch under there, or our children can have their school lunches under there. We also have built a trellis shade structure off to the other side, which you see there on the right, and that will be overlooking Main Street. So it also doubles as a band and performance area. And then the other side, the original fountain will remain. The problem we had with the fountain is it was almost like the fountain sculpture was a man standing in a bucket. Because when the spray went out, the spray went on the ground. The basin was not large enough. So what the architects decided to do is to enlarge the basin and offset the sculpture, so that we now can have the spray going back into the recycled water. The other problem we had when the spray went out, and when those few days it became very cold, we had a complete icy area. So the plaza is set to open in 2 weeks. So this is an official invitation for all of you that we will open the plaza the first Thursday on Main, which is a regular monthly event every Thursday. All of downtown is open, and the plaza is going to open. The last quadrant is we hauled back in trees, and I don't mean little trees, I mean big trees. There are 6 of those that will be a shade grove. Lights will be strung in between. And then the grant has also paid for new seating throughout the whole plaza. Around the fountains, under, over, and around. There is, it is designed so that the plantings are either 2 feet or they're trimmed up to 10 feet. The reason for that, the commitment that we are making, is to take care of that plaza so you have a sight line all the way through, so we can see what's going on. We've installed cameras. The city has worked with us to make sure that we can protect the investment of what's on top. So we have gates. So the mayor and I talked a long time about the gates. The gates make it look like it's closed, but we're very clever, because what we decided to do is have the gates recess into the plants during the day, and then after hours and overnight, I can pull them shut. That way we encourage the behavior of what we want to have happen in, which is active programming. So with good luck comes good luck sometimes, because on top of the plaza physical renovation, we received a grant to programming. So you will be seeing family days, and we have Soda City days, and all of that will be helping to attract people to the downtown area. So the 3-way partnership concludes with me being the manager. So I will take care of the plaza once it's finished. So the whole thing about the museum is it's only as good as if you use it. So I want you to become a member. I want you to visit, buy a ticket, even if it's for one event. Give us a try. Donate. I mean, go next time you're in Aunt Mabel's attic and there's something up there, that dust it off and call me. Maybe it can enhance the collection and be something we can borrow and use. So volunteer. I always need extra help. Your children, your grandchildren, all of those are classes. So please get involved. And I'd like to just say we're blooming in lots of new ways, and I hope you'll come and see me. Thank you. So this is always my very favorite part, because questions.
What about parking?
Okay, here we go. Parking. It's either going to be the hard questions or the myth busting. So let's take it on. I'm ready. So the parking continues to be as is. We use the lot that is catty cornered to us, right across from Public's house. Does everybody know the name of, what's that street? Right in front of it. Taylor. So the parking is on Taylor. Garage parking on Taylor. Street parking. And Matt, help me out. I saw Matt. Anything else? There's plenty of parking downtown. Plenty of parking garage. So come park. Okay, what else? Let me finish busting the myths.
When you say the land is owned by the City of Columbia, you know, a lot of times there's a misnomer out there, like the City of Columbia acts like they own Finley Park. The city does not own Finley Park. This Finley Park is owned by the citizens of Columbia. Otherwise, they'd have dumped it a long time ago. And screwed all of them. And so my question is, do they really own the land, or do the citizens of Columbia own the land, or do you know?
Well, I do not know, but I just know that they're my boss. So, you know what?
That's sad.
I'm delighted to work with our government. But I will send an email back to your president with the answer.
Thank you.
Okay, come on. Let's not end like that.
Y'all still have any free days anymore?
Yes, our free days by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Very generous. And they are every Thursday and our first Thursdays.
Are you all having a gala this year?
Libby set me up. Yes. Our annual fundraiser, our annual gala is March 9th. So it's 2 weeks. So we're going to open the plaza and then have the gala and use the plaza, the downstairs and the new upstairs. It'll be the first time we use the entire property. So March 9th, come.
Della, I just want to say that we had our gala in the new space, the renovation, it was just fantastic. We had such great response and such a beautiful space. We did a wonderful job.
Thank you for using us, and we do discounts for our nonprofit friends. I'll work with you if you want an event there. Yes, sir.
Do you ever have paintings that are like impressionists or different artists that come in for a show for like 3 weeks or a month? It's not your paintings, but other.
Yes, we have two programs. The upstairs has 20 galleries, what we call permanent collections, what we own. Downstairs we have 6 galleries, and we rotate those every 3 to 4 months. So, and that's an opportunity to bring in new artists, big deal artists. In fact, I was telling somebody earlier, in October we're bringing in a big Vincent van Gogh show. And that is a big accomplishment for Columbia, South Carolina, because Van Goghs I won't sleep for the 4 months they're here because the insurance value makes me sleepless. But we will have Van Gogh. So yes, sir, so when you come one time, come 3 or 4 months later, it's something new.
When they do come, do you have to guarantee a certain amount of money?
Yes, sir.
For that?
So the question is, do I have to guarantee a certain amount of money? The way an exhibition program works is a traveling exhibition can only travel for 2 years. 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. So 4 venues get it. And that is for the wear and tear of the object. So I want to be the colleague that somebody calls and says, hey Della, we have a Monet exhibition coming. Do you want it in 2021? I have to then commit to the slot and I start paying fees right away. When I commit to it, I put a deposit down and I pay the fees along. Our rental fees go from free, when I can, horse trade with a colleague, all the way up to about $100,000. So then it is our responsibility to figure out through sponsorships and admission and all the ways to recoup that money. So at any one time, I carry a 5-year portfolio. So I know today what I'm going to have every single year going forward so I can plan those payments out. Yes, sir.
Do
Do you have a foundation that supports the museum?
Well, we have an endowment that helps support. We do not have a,
It's not a separate
no, sir.
part of your.
No, sir.
You referred to the Boyd Plaza, does it memorialize Darnell Boyd, my childhood friend? Is his name there?
That is the original gift. The Darnell and Susan Boyd gave the original gift 20-some years ago to put the plaza in. And Mrs. Susan Boyd has gifted this refresh.
But it was done in honor of their son Darnell, who was killed in a skiing accident
And that's what the plaque continues to be reset right in the center with exactly the same. Yes. Question?
How do you pay for like the big things like the Chihuly piece of art that's hanging right in the center? Who pays for that?
So we have an art acquisition fund that's restricted money given to the museum by people and grants and different things. So we pay for it out of museum purchase money. But the Chihuly, in fact, was our contemporaries. We have a group, we have affiliate groups that are associated with the museum, and they fundraised and paid for half of the Chihuly, and the museum matched the other half. And I see some of our contemporaries in the room, so I'm happy to say the contemporaries are those that are just out of school or 21-ish to about 40. It's a social, we have 300 members. It's a social and arm of fundraising for artwork. So that's how the very special big things, we work years and years and years to have enough money to make a grand purchase like that.
I'm the one who usually asks the inappropriate questions.
All right, I'm ready.
Suburban families have tended to shy away from a lot of cultural things in the inner city because cultural things are often seen as sort of drivers of social change. I wonder how, is there a consciousness when you do programming to say we need to make sure that we are trying to broaden our base, to bring those people back in?
That is not inappropriate, and that's our daily work. So we are very, very focused on DEAI, which is diversity, equity, inclusion, and access. Those are the things that I think about every day, how we can be a community place. So when we do our programming, we look across all peoples. So I always say diversity is like a box of chocolates. You know that Forrest Gump analogy? It's because it's not what's on the outside, it's what's on the inside. That we all have a different thing that we bring to the table and a different desire and want. And so our programming reflects that. And in 600 programs, boy, do I hope that we have felt inclusive and welcoming to lots of guests. So, and that will continue. I mean, I get calls every day, you know, they'll tell me, let me tell you one thing, I don't approve of that you did last week. And I'll get the call the very next day, say, ma'am, thank you for finally doing that. So, you know, we have to bring that, because we do not want to be, museums for too long have been exclusive or for certain kinds of people. Our museum has really made the, I call it customer promise, to be community-centered and welcoming. So yes, and if I didn't do a good job, you call me. Yes, ma'am.
Where did they relocate the ice rink, or did they?
The question's about the ice rink. So the mayor and I sat down and had a long talk about the ice rink. So the ice rink was sort of shoehorned catty corner into the plaza. And when he saw the plans for the new plaza, which included some architectural structures and the bigger fountain, he and I decided that I would have it one more year, which was the 2017-18, and then he would relocate it to another place. Last year, he put it in the temporary location, he says, of the Harbison Mall area, and will continue to find its proper place. I cannot house it again just because it's too big for, you know, what we have redesigned. But, you know, the trade-off is, do we take this gift and do a beautiful plaza with the structures, or do we leave an open space for the skating rink? We need a shade more than we needed the skating rink. Okay, thank you.
Della, thank you for being here today. It's a very exciting time at the museum with all the renovations and everything taking place. And you have a lot of energy, and I think it's going to serve the museum well in the future. We'd like to give you a small token of appreciation for coming here today.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask President-elect Louisa to come up and tell you about next week's program.
Thank you, President Stephen. And next week, we have another treat. William Starrett from the Columbia City Ballet will be here and bringing some of his performers. So bring a guest and come.
They show up.
Thank you, Louisa. We will stand and close in song.